We are speaking with Colleen Maloney. Colleen is not only a school committee chair for Southeastern Regional, but she is also now a candidate for the for state rep. I want to say it's the 10th Plymouth. Am I correct, Colleen?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you so much for having me. It is Plymouth 10th, so it's all of West Bridgewater, a little bit of East Bridgewater, and part of Brockton.
Okay. For folks who may or may not know, talk to me about when you formally threw your hat in the ring and said, "This is a seat that I want to run for. I feel that I have a real good chance of putting in the time and having a good competitive race, whether it would be against the incumbent or otherwise."
Yeah, so I had honestly been thinking about it for a while, starting maybe last summer, but I didn't officially announce or anything until mid-November of 2013, so about 6 months ago. And then, yeah, I thought I was going to be facing the incumbent, Christine Canvin. She'd been there for about 20 years. And my game plan was to just door knock and to just push pocketbook issues, get my name out there. I was going up against, obviously, a tough incumbent as somewhat of a newcomer to the political sphere. But then in January, she announced that she was no longer going to be seeking re-election. So, I mean, some mixed feelings on that. It's good. It's good that it's an open seat. It changes some stuff just with regards to who exactly I'm going to be facing this fall. But, I mean, overall, it doesn't really change a lot of my platform. I still have to get out there. I still have to meet with the voters. I still have to, hear their concerns and just show them that I'm ready to be their advocate up on Beacon Hill. So, I mean, not a lot has changed. It is a bit of a different dynamic, though. And, I mean, an open seat's always great. Incumbency is tough. So, overall, I think I'm pretty excited.
As you may or may not know, I believe on the Democratic side of things, right now you do not have an opponent. If we were, if it was September, you would basically be going on through until November. But you have three Democrats at this moment who are looking to battle it out. One of them is a sitting city councilor in Brockton. One of them is somebody whose husband has been politically active, but I don't know much about that individual at this time. And another individual actually ran for city council actually at large last year, was not successful, but did run. Give me your thoughts about about facing this somebody from this field eventually.
What I think is the biggest problem with the Massachusetts primaries is just it's so I really won't know until September, and then that really just gives about a month because the primary is so close to the general. That said, I mean, I'm sure I haven't met any of them personally. I'm sure they're all very nice people, but I'm still just going to be focused on getting my message out, which is transparency, fiscal responsibility, and, lower taxes for the people that are sending their money to Beacon Hill. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be the dynamics have changed, and I'll be interested to see how it plays out just on their side, just how they, interact with each other and whatnot. So it's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting, but I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good race.
Do you feel that there's any, if you look at the topography of the district, you are somebody who is best known as being a West Bridgewater resident, where some of these individuals are Brockton. Do you feel that you're going to need to work hard in other parts of the district, whether it's Brockton or East Bridgewater, to get your message out? Do you feel that that's going to be the case?
No, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I have a lot to prove to the Brockton residents just coming in as someone who isn't from Brockton. And they have the upper hand in that regard, especially with, Ward 6. I believe Ms. Duarte is Ward 6 as counselor. That's a pretty large seat, but, I just got to, head in there. I'm basically gonna live door knocking in Brockton over the summer, and just to show the Brockton residents that, although I don't come from Brockton, the sister city of champions, I'm ready to hear their concerns and try and help them out the best I can. So it is going to be tough. West Bridgewater is significantly smaller, but just gotta get out there.
What do you feel are the issues of the race? What are the issues of the district? And do the issues change depending on what part of the district you go to?
My message isn't really going to change very much, to be completely honest with you. I think the people of West Bridgewater and the people of Brockton are essentially the same. They're worried about pocketbook issues. They're worried about about taxes and in the schools, what's happening with our local aid. And, I mean, some scandals have been popping up that resonate across the state. You know, you hear what's going on at DCF. I don't think that's a geographical issue. I think everyone across the state can agree that something needs to be done about DCF. So my message isn't going to change, really. You know, just basically pocketbook issues, and I think that can really resonate with just about the whole district.
Okay. I guess I would ask you as far as what are some of the things that, let's say you are elected. Give us kind of a little bit of a peek into the future. What are some of the things, what are some of the bills or legislation that you would be most likely the champion?
So I'm really hoping, Charlie Baker had recently mentioned this, but this personally coming from the Southeastern School Committee, which is a regional school, Charlie Baker has mentioned allocating local aid like 2 years in advance so that you know for the next 2 years what your local aid is going to be looking like. Right now, when Southeastern is trying to balance their budget and trying to find out what numbers we need to present to our 9 communities, it's almost like guesswork because we're figuring out our budget and we're basing it off the governor's numbers, but the legislature hasn't even voted on that budget yet. And so what ended up happening to us last year was we presented these towns with these numbers that the governor gave us, and we were like, okay, this is roughly what the assessments are going to look like for these 9 communities. Once, you know, so they're voted on at town meeting, their FinCom looks at them, so that's like, you know, late spring, early summer. Come July, the budget's completely changed, and we almost had to go back to our 9 communities and be like, I'm sorry, we gave you the wrong number, like, you know, and obviously we can't ask these 9 communities to hold another town meeting. So if we can have things like local aid 2 years ahead of time, and if we can start funding regional transportation, which is another big aspect for us as a regional school, and then just across the board, I think that would be important. But also, you know, just some common sense stuff as far as like requirements that all legislation be posted online a full day before they're voted on, so that, you know, the people have a chance to look at it, and results of committee polls be posted so that, you know, how are you supposed to ask your legislator what they've been up to when they're in their subcommittees, which is often the meeting before the meeting. You don't really know what's going on. So stuff like that, a lot of some common sense stuff. And then also I'm really supportive of Sean O'Connell's small business bill rights, which, you know, puts a 1 year transitional period before new taxes take effect on small businesses. I think stuff like that's really important just because these communities, 3 out of 4 jobs are going to be created in a small business here. So I think we need to stop beating down the little guy. So bills like that are really what I want to focus on. But yeah, so that's basically it.
Okay. I have to ask you, how does the dynamic change for you? Where you had somebody who was an incumbent, you could have held that person's feet to the fire for either their voting record, their attendance, you know, what particular stances they took on certain issues, to where you're going to have an unknown entity. Does that change things for you as a candidate?
Yeah, it somewhat does, just because, like, as you had mentioned, you know, I can say, oh, Representative Canavan felt this way, I feel this way. And, you know, as I mentioned, I can't even say, like, oh, candidate X feels this way and I feel the other way, because I won't really even know that until, like I said, September. But it's mostly just going against, and which was also a big focal point anyway, just like the Democratic machine, I guess you could say, in Massachusetts. Whereas the Democrats as a whole are just such a large number that, like, our voices are often just swept out of they're just dismissed. I mean, there's about 100, roughly 160 legislators, and roughly 40 of them are reps in the House, and then in the Senate you have 40 senators, and about 4 of them are Republicans. So I mean, just going up against the Democratic machine as a whole, and just trying to be an advocate for, you know, like I said, like the lower taxes and the local aid and such. But it's going to be difficult because you're right. I don't really know where to set my, you know, I can't say like, oh, candidate X has voted this way and I feel the other way. So it's a bit of a different dynamic. It's a bit tougher, but it does give me a chance to just get my message out there and focus on that. So I guess there's that positive, but yeah, it's a little different.
Okay, let me ask you this: while other candidates, maybe other potential voters, may look at you and go, she's kind of young. You are an elected official, and would you say it would be a bit of an advantage in your back pocket that politics is deep in your family? Because let's not forget, you have somebody who I think would kind of hold you to a task in regards to how things happen on a municipal level, correct?
Yes, yeah. My mom is actually on West Bridgewater's Board of Selectmen, and I do learn a lot of like municipal stuff from what she, from our conversations, and she helped me a lot. She helped me before when I was elected to the school committee. I was obviously even younger, but she had been on a school committee before, so she kind of, without forcing her opinion, she kind of guides me through the mechanics of it. So I know that I'm going to get the argument that I'm young, but honestly, with that youth comes, I'm ready to learn. I'm energetic, and I have the time to put into this job exactly what it needs. So I'm just ready to get up there and just give it my full attention. I'm ready to learn, and I'm just ready to listen to the voters and what they have to say. I don't have the experience as some other people may have, but I'm willing to learn. I guess is what I would have to be my argument against that. But it's going to be tough being on the younger side. But
anything that I haven't asked you, but you feel is pertinent to this race that you want to let voters know about you or this race and how it comes down?
I mean, not really, other than the idea that I'm fully. I've been meeting with some small business owners in the district just to hear their concerns, and then obviously some PTOs and some FinComs and such, just to get a general feel of what the district itself is, what the voters are looking for, and then what the state as a whole really is going to need. Other than that, though, I mean, I think we covered it.
Okay. If how about as far as a campaign website or Facebook? How can folks find out more about you?
Yeah, so I do. I don't think I had a website the first time we chatted, but I got one up now. It's www.Colleen, Colleen Maloney, Maloney, for the number, like the number 4, rep.com. I'm on Twitter, cmaloney4rep. I'm on Facebook, just like Colleen Maloney. And I also, if anyone is interested, I'm having a bit of St. Patrick's Day campaign rally. It's going to be at George's Cafe in Brockton, March 19th at about 6:30. We're starting. So if anyone wants to come down, Kevin, if you'd like to come down, you're more than welcome. So yeah, other than that, that's how. And I mean, if they want to email me, ColleenMaloney@comcast.net. Yeah, I would love to hear from everyone.